Hi, I'm Alex Robertson, one of the co-founders of Real Estate Wealth Development, and we are here to help accelerate your journey towards generational wealth through property. So, over the next couple of weeks, as you can see, I'm going to be talking about property tax. We're going to do a bit of a property tax series. So, I guess for this first video, all I want to say is, why are we talking about tax? People might immediately switch off when they hear about tax, but ultimately, it has massive effects on your financial wealth. We couldn't talk about the wonderful ways to make money in property without also talking about how do we save money, how do we stop having to give all of that money away to HMRC at the end of the year because we've not got a structure and tax right. Now, you could say that, leave it to your accountant, who cares, they'll deal with it at the end. That's why I hire them, they're specialists, they should know this shit. A lot of property courses don't cover this sort of stuff. We cover it extensively in our courses because we feel it's important. And that really comes from our own personal experience, because we found that many of the so-called specialists in property tax they didn't know what they were talking about, they didn't know the ins and outs of the latest legislation, and things have changed massively in the last 5 years. So it's really important that as an investor you have a broad understanding of how tax works and how to effectively manage your tax in terms of property. And it gives you the ability to be able to assess whether or not your professional really knows what we're doing. So we're not trying to make anyone tax experts here, but we're trying to give you some of the fundamental understanding that you need to make sure that come the end of the year you make the right choice with your accountant. And that's another really important point. Since the rules changed back in 2015 to 2017, there was a lot of legislation against landlords and particularly property investing. It's really important that you understand what structure on the front end. How are you going to structure your business? And that depends on the goals that you're trying to achieve. So those are some of the things that have to be decided right at the start. Many other businesses would just really, start trading. Let's make some money, then we'll worry about tax. You can't do that in property investing. If you do, it's likely to lead to some pretty tasty tax bills at the end of the year, and you're going to regret it. So tax is one of those things that you really need to understand on the front end, particularly after Section 24 and all the changes that we have there. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the difference between property investing and property trading. Very different things in terms of tax and how they're taxed. And a lot of people go into a deal not knowing what their exit's going to be, whether they're going to flip it, whether they're going to keep it, hold it, buy to let. That's an important detail to know when you're looking at how you're going to structure things from a tax perspective, because they are taxed very differently. And we'll talk about that in one of the episodes of this series. So over the course of the next little while, we're going to be looking at property tax, various different subjects, just to give you an insight into what you need to know and how to make the best of your arrangements to minimise your tax obligations. And I think it was Lord Clyde that said in the 1920s case that no man is under the smallest obligation, moral or otherwise, as to arrange his affairs in order to allow the inland revenue to stick the largest shovel in his store. And ultimately all that means is there is no obligation on you to pay the taxman as much as possible. You are within your rights to structure your affairs and minimise that tax as much as possible. And that's what we're all about at Red Group. A lot of people don't believe that we are 3 years in, over 12 million worth of assets that we've accumulated in that time, and we pay very little tax because of the way that we structure our business. So there are massive wins to be had here. Okay, so tune in over the next few weeks and we'll catch up with you then. Bye.